Imagine moving into your dream home. A beautiful, secluded lake house, a fresh start. Now imagine that within weeks, a foul, sentient sludge begins seeping from your walls, your floors, your very ceilings. A physical, oily substance that seems to watch you, move with purpose, and defy every law of physics and reason. This isn't a scene from a horror film. This is the documented, terrifying reality that befell the Snelgrove family in Ontario, Canada. And it remains one of the most bizarre, tangible hauntings ever recorded. I'm Abnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. In 2000, John and Joan Snelgrove purchased a beautiful, modern home on Lake Huron. It was perfect, until it wasn't. It began with stains. Dark, greasy patches appearing on the ceilings and walls. Then, the stains began to drip. A thick, viscous, dark liquid that smelled of rotting meat and motor oil. They cleaned it, repainted, but it always came back, worse. Plumbers, contractors, engineers, no one could find a source. The substance seemed to generate from within the building materials themselves. But here's where it crosses from a repair nightmare into the paranormal. The sludge seemed to have a mind of its own. It would appear in impossible places, on the center of a ceiling with no pipes above it. It would ooze upward, defying gravity. It would materialize inside sealed containers. And most chillingly, the family reported that the substance would sometimes form into shapes, coils, even faces, and that they felt a constant, oppressive sense of being watched. This wasn't a leak, it was an infestation. The phenomenon escalated. The ooze became torrential, pouring down walls, pooling on floors. It ruined everything. The family's health deteriorated. Headaches, nosebleeds. Desperate, they called in paranormal investigators and even a Catholic priest. The investigators documented it all, the inexplicable appearances, the strange readings. The priest performed a blessing, and during that blessing, witnesses claimed the sludge erupted with renewed fury, as if in anger. This entity, whatever it was making its presence violently known. Eventually, utterly broken, the Snelgroves abandoned their dream home. They moved out, leaving everything behind, contaminated and destroyed. The house stood empty, a shell, but the story doesn't end there. The next owner, a builder, planned to tear it down. He was a skeptic, until he went inside. He reported seeing the sludge for himself, feeling that same malevolent presence. He demolished the house completely, scattering the foundation. Today, the lot on Snelgrove Lake sits empty. Some say the land itself is still tainted. So what was it? A poltergeist manifesting in the most bizarre, physical way? A toxic mold that induced collective hallucinations? Some argue it was a form of non-human intelligence, an entity from a dimension we don't understand, expressing itself through this foul, physical form. The sheer volume and persistence of the substance defies simple explanation. This wasn't a ghostly whisper. It was a shout made of putrid matter. What chills me about this case is its tangible defiance. We can debate shadows and sounds, but this was something you could touch, smell, and see pooling at your feet. It was a haunting that left evidence, that engaged with the physical world as aggressively as any living thing. It forces us to ask, if some energies can interact with our world, what are the limits of that interaction? Could a place, through some unknown alchemy of history or emotion, actually produce a physical sickness? The Snelgrove Lake home is gone, but the mystery of the sludge entity persists, a stark reminder that the unexplained isn't always ephemeral. Sometimes it's thick, it stinks, and it drips from your ceiling. For the Unexplained Archive, I'm Abnul J. Farabi. This podcast is a production of Light Knot Studios. Discover more at https://www.lightknotstudios.com.